This question is really sort of vague, so I'm going to start with a definition. Joseph Nye, the guy that came up with the idea of soft power, in his 206-page book, says it's the ability to get what you want through attraction rather than coercion or payments, usually from the attractiveness of a country's culture, political ideas, or policies. Now, Russia and China aren't exactly cultural exporters like the US, Japan, or South Korea, and their political systems aren't something we want to live under. So Russia and China view soft power as getting what they want without using obvious force. Really by any means. So, let's start with China, because Russia is complicated. The main thing that China has to influence every other country is their economy. It's pretty difficult to influence the West because stuff is just objectively better here. But they're doing major investments in Africa. They have this policy called the Belt and Road Initiative, where they give money to countries to develop trains, hydropower plants, and roads, and basically infrastructure. Does this actually help China though? Well, yeah. During a vote in June 2020 at the UN about Hong Kong's national security law, all of these countries backed China. And if you compare it to the list of countries that got loans from China, there's a big correlation. The Chinese government also set up Confucius Institutes in a load of countries and universities. These give Chinese lessons about history, not that history, and they give money to universities to fund them, which gives them a slightly better reputation, at least until Hong Kong and Xinjiang. So, everyone knows China's not exactly the most liberal country, but that doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, because hey, if something happens within a country's borders and we need something from them, it's not our problem. When China cracked down on the Hong Kong protests, this was all technically within China's borders, unlike Russia, who invaded Georgia and Ukraine. Now on to Russia. Russia doesn't really believe in soft power. For Russian leaders, soft power refers to non-military instruments for manipulating, undermining, and weakening opponents. This actually works really well, especially in a load of countries. The US, Donald Trump, Catalonia, the Leave campaign, even Ukraine. Their whole idea of soft power is just to make other countries look worse, not necessarily make Russia look better. If we focus on Russia's neighbours, an old sphere of influence in Georgia, Moldova, Ukraine, Kazakhstan and the Baltic states, no one wants to be associated with Russia. Georgia is moving towards the EU, Ukraine is Ukraine, Kazakhstan changed their official language to Kazakh. Where's the soft power there? There isn't a lot. Ever since Russia invaded Georgia in 2008, they don't want to lose sovereignty or influence to Russia. The only main real thing that ties all these countries together, apart from a shared history of communism, is religion, since they're all Orthodox Christians. But even then, Russia doesn't have influence there, they all have separate state churches. So while religious similarity is a good unifier, if you look at the Arab world, it's often not enough to persuade people. So, Russia's soft power is a failure, mostly because they're looking at long-term problems, like border security. Because of their government structures, they think long-term, in sort of detached ways, and because of their central positions in Europe, and, in the case of China, the world, nothing matters more than practical aims. And because the way they both try to achieve those aims, their soft power suffers. They just don't care as much. Soft power is built on culture, and as long as both governments try to rigidly control the country, and freedom of expression, it won't be very attractive to outsiders. It may not be very successful because they don't care about it. But when they start to, it'll become a problem.